Well, here we are folks, and we are lucky enough to be able to play the closed beta just 2 months away from release. I say lucky because, well, hell on a stick, this game has me addicted already. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed the video to get more updates and info in the future. Thank you. I was really looking forward to giving this game a bash, even though I never really played Diablo 3. I did, however, play Diablo 1 and 2 when I was very young, and have extremely fond memories of those games. So therefore, I'll be letting you know my thoughts on the game from a kind of fresh perspective. So probably by now you will know there will be 5 classes to choose from: Barbarian, Sorcerer and Rogue for the closed beta, and Necromancer and Druid for the open beta and full release of the game. On my first playthrough I chose Barbarian. My initial reaction to booting up the game for the first time was wow. The visuals, music for the intro cinematic were just jaw-dropping and did wonders to set the tone for what was to come. I wasn't too familiar with who Lilith is, but all I know is she's the daughter of Mephisto from the earlier games, and that she co-created the very world that we are thrust into once again, Sanctuary. So I guess that could be bad news for us, right? I didn't want to unearth all the facts, but rather just immerse myself, enjoy the game and let the story unfold. The combat itself is super engaging and never seems to allow for a dull moment, carving your way through waves of demons whilst building up enough fury to spend on your special abilities felt immensely satisfying. As you start to collect the vast array of loot dropped from the endless hordes of demons, I found that much of the higher tier loot sometimes had new abilities applied to them. This, paired with the skill points earned from levelling up, affords you as the player an ever-changing and dynamic combat experience in which constantly mixing up and utilising different abilities or spells now and then simply becomes commonplace. I played with friends for the most part, but also spent some time exploring the map and venturing into dungeons solo. Playing in a group was my preferred way to go, as I had a greater satisfaction from seeing how each class complements each other, you know, as they should. In any game like this, you have a tank for tanking, and a magic class for DPS, etc. And overall, the combat was less challenging because of this. My solo run still was bloody awesome, and I could focus more on the story this way. But as a barbarian, I found some of the boss fights a bit restricting, and that I would take way too much damage over time, as the barbarian is a close quarter class, right? I would use up most of my healing pots before the boss was anywhere close to being defeated. There may still be learning curves to certain classes, and a better understanding required of the build tree, but they will most likely adjust many aspects of the game and class systems between now and launch. I played the game on an ultra-wide monitor at 2K resolution. The graphics and attention to detail and level design are what you would expect, and to be honest, expected greatness from a game carrying this price tag. The design of the towns and houses you visit, accompanied by the excellent music score, does absolute wonders to throw you right in the world of Sanctuary. The open world aspect also did a great job of making the map seem vast yet inviting, sometimes just getting from A to B whilst encountering battles, exploring secret areas and finding new side quests along the way was an adventure in itself. I will say though, for a game that boasts over 150 dungeons, a huge open world map and other smaller underground areas, it does a surprisingly good job at making every location seem varied and not just a copy and paste of the place before. The inventory, equipment and skill interface pages are pretty standard and easy to follow. I found myself many a time being overloaded with expensive gear I didn't need to use and out of inventory space long before nearing the end of a dungeon run. But luckily that's not a problem, because you can simply teleport back to town and either sell or dismantle for materials, anything you don't need, and then just teleport back to your last location. Simple as that. The skill tree and player level were capped at 25 for the beta, so it was really impossible to try out everything from the limited amount of abilities available to us, passive or active. But what we can see currently, it seems to branch off in very diverse and interesting ways, with some skills being useful for many different situations, or simply allowing the player many different playstyles, especially when the level cap on launch will be 100. Respecing your class to focus on tanking, support or DPS at a slight cost in gold is no issue, as gold can be easily farmed in Diablo. The cities and town centres offer many vendors that allow you to customise and upgrade. Alchemists can upgrade your healing potions and craft elixirs, blacksmiths can upgrade your gear, salvage unwanted gear and repair your items, Duelists will craft gem upgrades and socket them into your gear for a powerful stat increase. Occultists will enchant gear to change the stat rolls and craft sigils which are required to open nightmare dungeons. The Purveyor of Curiosities is essentially for gambling. You can spend your obols to gain a chance to win the best gear in the game. And lastly, a stable for purchasing mounts. Although not too familiar with the story of Diablo, I found myself captivated from the first cinematic intro and listening to the narration of the main story quest, cutscenes and even the side quest NPC dialogue. This all added great wealth, mystery and a high level of excitement for what may be to come. The devs have boasted a very long game, saying that with re-rolling a new character completely aside, just with one playthrough, the game offers 35 plus hours of main story campaign, but realistically we are looking at well over 100 hours for the completionists out there like me. This is because of the open world replayability you can experience in dungeons, visiting them again on 4 different difficulty tier levels to achieve much greater rewards. So my thoughts on spending a decent amount of time in the beta so far is that I'm pleasantly surprised with the game, as I didn't really know what to expect. Having not played Diablo 3, I just assumed in my head that the repetition of the game style would grate on me a little. If anything, I would say I truly loved all aspects of the game, and then feeling a little frustrated at the prospect of a 2-month wait until release day. The constant brutality of the combat ability animations, collecting gold and loot, exploring and unlocking new levels and skills, all mixed in with the beautiful artwork, sceneries and incredible music and sound design, left me wanting more. After having played most of the great RPG games out there, this feels like a world I really want to immerse myself in for a few months. The devs will no doubt continue to improve on the foundation of Diablo 4, and I look forward to future DLC content expanding this world even further. It's hard to think of many negatives from the small amount of time we were allowed. I would say half the vendors in the town were not applicable during the beta, as you either needed to be a high level or it simply wasn't unlocked for the beta experience. The game wasn't entirely smooth, a little laggy at times and could take up to 1 or 2 hours to log in, but these are all to be expected in the first beta, with so many people wanting to play at the same time. Other than that, I did not notice any other major bugs. Lastly, just a side note that PvP was disabled for the beta, so I cannot comment on that yet. I think this is due to both it being not finalised yet, and also because we probably do not have access to those areas of the map as of yet. Well, thank you so much for listening, and if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and comment below to tell me what you loved or disliked about the beta. Also, if you find it in your heart to hit the subscribe button, it will really help me out, and you'll also be notified about future videos. I would be super grateful. Thank you, and here's a little more footage from my Diablo 4 gameplay. Take care.
Here!